There are brand new head coaches in Big 12 basketball that might not be very good hires. Oh, and 3 teams in the Sweet 16 that will also be in the Elite 8 and then the Final Four. And then this is the Dos Grande squad.
You're talking ball with the Big 12 squad. From Oklahoma State to Utah, from Kansas State to BYU, from Houston to Texas Tech, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming Big 12 weekend. Buckle up, it's the Big 12 squad, and we have a seat for you. No hurt feelings and thin skin allowed. Squad up, you're part of the Big 12 squad.
Happy Thursday night, everybody. Welcome to the Big 12 squad. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. Thank you for making this show or these shows your first listen every single day, because we're joined by Parker Ainsworth of Locked On Cougs, Cody Stovall of Locked On Oklahoma State, and talking all things Sun Devils, Philip Mulford joins the Dos Grande squad and the Locked On Network as of the last month or so. Man, they're killing the content, and they have a brand new head coach. We will get there later. We have to start in March Madness and begin with the 3 teams still alive in the Big 12 Conference. If you hit subscribe, we all get to keep our jobs, and that would be good.
Hey, Drake, did you say March Madness or March Madness? I didn't.
I said March Madness, but Oklahoma State.
I don't even know what that is, man.
Oklahoma State does do the wrestling. Pretty impressive wrestling. I'll give it to you, Cody. But we also have Parker Ainsworth, whose university is doing a little bit more on the national scale right now, giving their basketball teams great success. And one Mountaineer Paul, fashionably late. That's how we like it around here. Parker, you are once again in the Sweet 16. Not you. You didn't make a shot this round. But Houston is once again in the Sweet 16. And I think all 3 of these I had all 3 of them in my Final Four before the tournament. And if I could be so crass, yes, we've had teams lose, for sure. But the 3 teams that actually could have won the national championship are all 3 still alive, and they're the only 3 teams in the Big 12 that actually could have won the national championship, given the injury issues of some other contenders. Right. So I think we're okay.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I remember it was really early on in basketball season. We're comparing conferences, and Level and I kind of went back. I love Level, but it was like top heavy versus depth. And I was like, at that point, I thought the Big 12 had 4 or 5 teams that could win the whole thing. Toppin gets hurt. Saunders gets hurt, right? Things change. And now it's proving out to be the 3 teams that were healthy out of that group. And Iowa State's actually not healthy, and they're still doing it. We should probably point that out, right? They're still playing in the second weekend. I think it speaks to a different kind of dominance when you have the top end of the sport. And I also, when everyone was healthy, though, they went further down than that. But it's a good showing for the Big 12. It's funny. You get rid of those 2 schools, add a couple that care about basketball, and all of a sudden you're the best conference in the league. And it's a whole different sport all of a sudden.
Yeah. Hey, Paul. Hey, Paul.
Hey, Paul.
Paul?
Hi, Paul.
Hello.
Hey, Paul.
Hey. Hi, Paul.
How's life, Paul?
Doing good. Life is good, except for the women. They just lost to Kentucky. 1-point loss. That sucked.
When you said except for the women, I didn't know where we're going.
Life's great, except for the ladies.
Know.
Those ladies,
Yeah. That's
sorry, Paul. It is unfortunate. There's always next year, they say.
Life's going well. I'm excited. Football season. Spring practice just started back up for West Virginia football. So obviously we don't have any basketball going on. So,
All right, let's lead to a good question that I can give the masses, because most of you are out of the tournament. My Baylor Bears, my alma mater, they're bounced, didn't even make it. Oh, they're in the Crown. Sorry, the Crown. Wow.
Hey, the Cowgirls play UCLA, if that helps.
Yeah.
Cowgirls at UCLA is a giant. I would say, is the Crown still a thing? I thought they got
Crown's a thing. No, it was
we did not
CBI.
get invited this year.
CBI got it.
CBI is canceled. Crown is alive. Are you guys watching March Madness still, or do you not really care anymore? Sorry, Parker.
I mean, I'm not watching the Houston games, but
wrestling's over. So yeah, I'll hit some basketball up.
Paul?
Yeah, I've watched every game. So
hey,
there we go.
That away, Paul.
That Vandy game, my goodness. I know it's not Big 12, but deserves credit.
West Virginia could have had Bart Byington if they wanted him. But, I think Ross Hodge is going to be, honestly do think he's going to be fine. But Byington has proven what made him good at James Madison and what's making him good now at Vandy. And that's not an easy job to win at. Neither is James Madison, basketball specifically. So, would have been nice to see what he could do in the Big 12, but now he's going to be moving on to somewhere bigger and better. Former Bob Huggins disciple Calhoun got the Cincinnati job. That's another big one. Jerrod Calhoun is going to be a problem in this conference. Promise.
Hey, speaking of the Big 12, how many of us had 3 Big 12 teams in the Final Four? Other than Drake.
I do as well.
I think we all hoped it would happen.
I had
All
2.
right.
No, I
All
did.
right.
I went.
Right.
We don't do brackets. You just
This
do
is a
one.
loaded Sweet 16, man. This Sweet
Yeah.
16 is loaded. It doesn't matter what side you look at for either team. They're all tough games. I mean, every single one of them.
Yeah,
Nebraska's
even
got
Texas.
Iowa.
I mean, it's a nice
What
way,
is it?
Paul.
Even Texas, like they look really good. That's like the greatest big man I've ever watched play college basketball. All of a sudden, just not good at all. He was against BYU, and then again against Gonzaga.
Yeah, but look, they are coached by Sean Miller, so that's automatically like 10 points, 10 down the ranking, down whatever it is.
There you go.
As an ASU fan, I think I'm allowed to say that.
Former
Continue my
Houston
hatred.
Cougar Tremont Mark at Texas won all those games too. Yeah,
The Weaver kid, man, his hairline has not gotten any better. He's been in college for 6 years.
we don't have
scaring kids.
I don't think we have a product, but we should probably get some product placement for someone to help him with that. That would be a great spot. Someone should get on that.
Yeah, be a really good NIL, but he's it's like when I take too much Benadryl. That's what I see. I see the Weaver kid from Texas in my dreams.
I
You want like
thought
a
meant
Dapper
to
Dan
do that
man,
to your hair.
Dapper Dan, man, oh brother, or art thou reference? Cohen brothers.
Nicely done.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I went to their live
Small
soundtrack at the Grand Old Opry a couple weeks ago. Met Tim Blake
That's
Nelson.
cool.
Now what?
So,
Um,
Houston
Wow.
obviously has made an exemplary statement in the tournament thus far. Do you think of the 3 teams in the Big 12, does Houston have the best shot to get there and get it done?
probably still Arizona to me, but Parker, what do you got?
Obviously, Houston's playing at Toyota Centers. That helps some.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Someone's
Good
dinging.
Lord.
That's a fine.
Paul.
That's gotta be a fine of some sort. No. So I
Jamie, they would have thrown Jamie Dixon in jail for that.
Houston's got a good shot. I think they also Iowa beating Florida looks really easy on paper all of a sudden, but Iowa's a pretty tough matchup for that. They're really big. Big old farm boys are at Iowa playing basketball. So
And they got one of the best, in my opinion, one of the most underrated players in all of college basketball in Sturts.
Yeah.
Well, their coach ain't gonna last long at Iowa. He just keeps.
You think McCollum's gonna be
way on up?
I don't know. He could probably win at Iowa for a while. They like their basketball. They put money in that program.
Well, he's also from Iowa too. That's a big
that's
reason
a-
why he went there. That's one of the reasons why they chose him.
You know,
If it
I'm
ain't,
okay.
if it ain't Peyton Clark, nobody cares. Calm down.
I'm okay now with the fact that
He
we
won
don't
4
have-
natties before he came to Iowa.
There's something about the D2, right? Northwest Missouri State.
Yeah,
sounds
Impressive.
Rim Baker hired him. Yeah, at
Pretty
where he was at, Northwest Missouri.
I don't really mind. A lot of people are complaining there aren't that many Cinderellas this year. Let's get your guys' thoughts on the lack of Cinderellas. If that means that March is a little bit less than what it used to be. Coming up next on Locked On Big 12. First, today's show is brought to you by Indeed. Indeed Sponsor Jobs is exactly where I go when I'm trying to hire an intern, which is once or twice a year. Workplace chaos means that I don't have time to vet all these hires. Indeed does it for me. And the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And you get a $75 sponsored job credit to help your job get the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Indeed.com/podcast right now. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire. This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Today's show is also brought to you by our friends at Robinhood. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in the live market. You can buy or sell positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge and moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So momentum shifts. You can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play. You decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app today to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, registered future commission, virgin, and swap firm. Robinhood. Everyday Air Club, ad free Locked On Big 12. Yeah, ad-free Locked On Cougs, ad-free whatever you want. It's Supercast. It's Locked On Big 12 or like Locked On Insert Here .supercast.com. Locked On Insert Here .supercast.com. You get what I'm trying to say there. Here's the reason I don't mind the fact there are not a lot of Cinderellas. If this is a season where Houston or Arizona had lost to St. Louis or St. Mary's or lost to Cleveland State, like, yeah, we love that. It's so fun. And then Cleveland State loses down the line in the Sweet 16 by 29 points. And you know what? Surely there will be teams that lose by 29 points. But I just don't mind the fact that we have some of the best players in college basketball giving us 8 games, Paul, you mentioned it, that all have star power, that all have like intrigue of the best players in the sport. The level of basketball that we get is not, and I don't want to die. I love I do love Cinderellas. I'm just not that mad that we get elite basketball. I'm not complaining that we get elite basketball because a lot of times Cinderellas, as good as they are predicated on 3-pointers. They make a lot of threes. They get hot in the tournament, and that's what carries them through. Or sometimes they dunk the ball. This year, the best 16 teams, I think, or some of the best 16 are alive.
I got a hotter take on the big picture of things, but I will say I appreciate that when none of us are calling Texas a Cinderella. That really irked me over the weekend. It was like, they have Ferraris and Lamborghinis outside as they're part of their NIL package. Like, they don't get to call just because they actually sucked for most of the year does not mean they get to suddenly be a Cinderella because they decided to play basketball in March. Like, that doesn't seem right.
I don't necessarily think you can consider a 5 seed per se a Cinderella, but for me, guys, it's St. John's. Iowa obviously should be part of this conversation, but I love that the Red Storm are not only relevant again, but how about the old ball coach making another run at a natty? I know he's been there a few seasons now, and he's kind of got St. John's kind of back to where they are. But I think it's pretty cool that they're able to kind of shake things up. You mentioned the star power. It's nice to see a coach have this capability at multitude of schools. Reminds me a lot of like an Eddie Sutton. If maybe that's why I've got St. John's beating Houston.
Coaches in suits had like a winning record by 4 or 5 games over the weekend. Did you see that?
I didn't see that.
I love that though.
I like that.
There you go.
Does Calipari's checkered jacket, does that count as a suit?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know how officially they're going with blazer versus suit versus. But I just saw the stat on TV.
Do you think he'll wear, because they played last year, do you think that Calipari will wear the dinner table tablecloth, the Italian restaurant tablecloth again? He strategically wore that suit coat last year. Shout out Rick Pitino. I just looked it up. Like, Rick Pitino incidents is all I searched. And 1974, 74 linked to NCAA violations at Hawaii. I had no idea that was like, he's been doing this for a long time. 2009, Pitino was embroiled in a case where a woman, Karen Cipher, attempted to blackmail him after an affair. She was later convicted of extortion, while Pitino admitted to the affair and provided money for an abortion. Uh-oh.
How does this guy keep getting jobs? Like, I understand he's a fantastic
what's crazy
basketball coach.
That happened in 09.
Because he wins.
Like, that's Louisville didn't fire him. It happened in 09 that he did. He was like, yeah, I had an affair and I paid for an abortion. And Louisville was like, well, he wins games. 2015, scandal emerged that Louisville staff members provided prostitutes and strippers to recruits and players.
Ding, 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 ding.
Shout out Mizzou leading the way.
NCAA investigation. Pitino failed to oversee his staff, resulting in a 5-game suspension and the stripping of a championship. He only got suspended 5 games for buying the kids prostitutes. They're like, I don't know, man. He wins. And finally, the 2017 Adidas bribery scandal where he bribed a recruit with $100,000.
Which is actually funny to look back on.
My friend Josh Brooks, when we were in the old rehab together, used to say one of my favorite lines ever.
Put his name out there.
There's only one thing better than Frosties, and that's Frosties.
Wow.
Wendy's Frosties. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
The only thing better, huh?
Frosties.
What are he at now?
According to Josh Brooks, actually, I have a video recorded on my phone where he called me. Unfortunately, he relapsed. And he called me to, he called me to just
Frosties, fill up, and go.
Well, that is a wonderful transition. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So much.
You're welcome.
Okay. I did have a take on this Cinderella thing, though. I think unless it's a freshman, it's probably done. Because truthfully, the way basketball works now is there's some freshman that's a stud at Chattanooga State. They're not at Chattanooga State the next year anymore.
Yeah,
right?
Correct.
like that thing has gone by. Like I don't think that there ever will be a non-power 4 Cinderella like of substance. Like High Point had a $4.2 million NIL base.
Oh,
right? Like,
is that real? 4.2? I thought it was 1.5.
I saw 4.2 and their stadium looks like a palace.
Wow.
But like, that's
and Cameron Fletcher, by the way.
HBU
Streets
is a
remember.
wealthy
Cameron
school.
Fletcher, right, was
they're
a
expensive.
Kentucky Wildcat at a high school, right? Like
a 6-star out of high school. He was so good.
yeah. So I say that to say that like I kind of feel like the reality is the Cinderella being Iowa or Texas, a Power 4 conference team that didn't succeed during the season, but suddenly turns it on in March is like actually the way.
Yeah,
it's
this is
going.
in Georgia from a few years ago where they were under 500 and won the SEC.
It's one thing to complain about, oh, there's no Cinderellas, I miss my Butlers or whatever. It's another thing to say, look, NIL, the way it works right now is not great. And it's sucking the fun out of many sports, and it's sucking Cinderellas away. Like, we're not having Cinderella stories anymore. It's hard for anyone that doesn't have crazy NIL budget to go compete in any money sport. So
yeah, if the NCAA wants to suck the fun out of me,
they have to pay for it.
Yeah, carry on, Drake. Carry on.
Frosties.
What are you,
Right?
what are you guys talking about? Given the NCAA's rules that make the transfer portal terrible and the NIL, everything's just sad. And now players sign 2-year contracts. Hello, Brendan Sorsby, and don't have to adhere to their 2-year contracts. It doesn't even matter anymore.
Drake, I tell you what I don't like. If the NCAA investigates you for prosties and
great.
Yes. If you got accused for whatever, damn it, Paul, why would you?
Frosties. Yep.
Frosties and Frosties, it would somehow come back on Oklahoma State. So I hope
yep. You would get punished for the rest of the Big 12's doings. Coming up, new hires across the Big 12 Conference: Cincinnati and Arizona State. Were they good enough? Or are they too old? Locked On Big 12 Squad. Oh, today's show is brought to you by TurboTax. One thing that I never liked doing was taxes. I don't have to anymore. It's tax time. But for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is a lot. Try to book an appointment that's not the most convenient. Sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers, emailing back and forth, wondering if they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. Just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in and meeting a real person and walking out knowing your taxes are being handled right. Head to TurboTax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment with our friends at TurboTax. Today's show is also brought to you by it's the only place that I go to get tickets, and especially this time of year in the postseason, it is Game Time. Game Time's exactly where I go, and a big reason why is I can toggle a feature that gives me the price. No hidden fees at the end. No jacket way up. No, like, I know you saw $40 or actually $70. Nope. Game Time doesn't do that to you. The biggest stretch of college basketball is here, and Game Time is here for you. Zone deals let you pick a section and save even more while Game Time selects your seats. Take the guesswork out of buying college basketball tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code Locked On for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today with Game Time. All right, Big 12 squad. Phil, you got a new head coach in Tempe. Arizona State is going to win for a couple of years and then watch their coach retire. What's the vibe around the program with this hire?
Well, I've learned that Arizona State basketball is a retirement home. That's
people do in Arizona. That's what people do there.
Nice. It works out for us because honestly, Randy Bennett is a home run hire for ASU, which was like number 50 in basketball expenditure. The program cost, not necessarily NIL money, like number 50 in basketball expenditure this year. To get a guy that as experienced and as its quality as Randy Bennett is a home run hire. My worry is that he's like 64. He said he does not want to coach into his 70s. He's going down here because his parents are getting older and they live in the Valley. And my worry here is like, we're going to get him for 5 years. We're going to be in this spot again in 5 years. And if we don't manage this really, really intelligently, we're going to be coming up. We're going to get in a brand new stadium. That's happening in like 2029. We're not going to have someone to fill the slot. And it's just going to be really awkward. So
if in those 5 years he goes to 4 NCAA tournaments and the Elite Eight twice, I think that's worth it. I think anybody would
I
give.
think
You
so.
know,
Everyone would do that. Everyone would.
Look,
do
You
that.
can always do a
But-
coach and waiting situation.
That's what I'm
maybe.
hoping for.
which
That's not what I'm
worked well
hearing
for
right now,
Utah. It worked really well for Utah.
So
well, you know.
I guess my thing with that, Phil, is that it feels like to me Bennett had also kind of hit a ceiling at St. Mary's with Gonzaga leaving that conference and the world.
No
kinda
more Sweet
shifting.
16. He already isn't making Sweet 16s ever.
He did one 10 years ago.
Well, I mean,
years ago.
he's been there 20. He's been at St. Mary's 25 years, and kind of he hit whatever ceiling they could hit in modern college basketball, right? And
Yeah.
Arizona State, I think it's like, hey, it might be 5 or 6 years, but here's one last run at making something cool, you know? And like, what other place to do it besides the Big 12, frankly?
Yeah, but there's also a piece of this of, you know, you went from St. Mary's playing Portland on Tuesday and then Washington State this year on Friday, right? Because they did their little, something like that. To now having Arizona followed by Houston on the road, back at home to play Houston again. Now you have to go play at BYU, and then you're going on the road to play Iowa. So you're going to Ames, Iowa. Like, talk about getting chewed up and spit out. There are 4 or 5 game stretches in this conference that are built to make you die.
Yeah, and here's the thing, right? So Bobby Hurley's teams, they would look awful sometimes. Their entire ethos is we're going to let the shooter shoot. We're going to hit these threes. And sometimes we're shooting 20% from beyond the arc, or like 10% from beyond the arc, and we're just not hitting shots, and it's awful. But we would also go and knock off the Kansas of the world, the Texas Techs of the world, because sometimes their shooters get hot and something happens.
Yeah.
We're going to have a much higher standard of quality out of ASU going forward. I think it's fair to say that Bennett is going to have the standard of quality. It's going to be a very defensive team, and we're not going to have the high highs, but we're not going to have the low lows.
His name
My
is
my only concern would be there doesn't seem to be a rich history right now of the older generation of coaches kind of figuring things out in this new generation of NIL and the portal for the most part. Obviously, Rick up there at St. John's is a little different because the new age of college basketball, he's already been really, really good at it back when it was backdoor money. So, I mean, he might be a little bit of an exception, but I think that your old school traditional coaches that have foundations set on, high moral ground and things of that nature. I just don't know that it works a whole lot anymore. And that would be my only concern for y'all is you're in a rebuild mode and the old heads don't seem to be having the greatest grasp on this crazy NIL portal generation because it's hard for them to get people to buy in to the university and stuff anymore.
Here's the one thing that makes Bennett actually really good in that arena. Not that he's this crazy NIL guy, but we don't have a lot of NIL money right now. If we'd hired another guy, Derek Glasser, apparently Harden was going to go double our NIL fund because they played together.
They're friends, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that would have been such an awful head coach hire. But anyway, Bennett has got 6 4-stars in his entire history. He's gotten 1 5-star. He is very good at making it work with these analytics guys, these guys coming in from Australia and from Europe. Making it work on lower NIL budgets, making it work based on people like from alternate recruiting pathways. So I'm not the most worried that he's not bringing in 5-stars. I mean, look, ASU had the number 6 recruiting class in the country last year. Look how that did us.
He's one.
I'm not as worried there.
He's one with less talent or like lower talent, certainly than like the teams even in the WCC, right? And he got like the Dellavedova kid from Australia, right? And international.
The Dellavedova kid, as if he hasn't played an entire NBA career.
Well, it was a kid when he won to the Sweet 16 with them in 20.
Oh, Matthew.
Good old Matthew. He's all hyped up on coffee or whatever. Remember that? No, the trick to me too is that there's a weird connection.
He's like 30 now.
Both Arizona schools.
No, he's not hopped up on Mountain Dew.
No, but both.
Speaking of that,
dear Lord,
I'm upset. I went to DoorDash Walmart came right in the middle of our show. Of course, even though it said 11:30.
No free pub. You don't need to drop that name. No free pub.
And they brought zero sugar. What are they thinking here?
Yeah.
Oof.
I was pretty upset about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, my joke was gonna be a comment about the NIL money, and then I was gonna flash up that we were poor. But that
I ruined the joke.
That was gonna be the thing.
I'm sorry, I ruined your joke.
No, I want to throw out. I actually think that that this wasn't the best hire of the cycle though for the Big 12. I think there was a subtly good hire last week. If anyone saw it happen,
the K-State hire.
Calhoun's got to be the best hire for me.
Oh, you think Calhoun? Oh, okay. Let's debate here because we've got a guy at K-State. We got a guy at Cincinnati now.
So I guess Calhoun went public this week, but didn't Calhoun get like secretly secretly like behind closed doors last week before the season ended at Utah State, and that was kind of the story was like he was coaching knowing he was leaving or something. Nobody heard that whole thing.
Yeah, there was controversy that he was already a foot out the door, which I mean,
because they like turned down like interviews with other people, and he turned down other interviews and stuff like that. He's got ties to Cincinnati from Huggins days, right, or whatever. Like this is his thing. I think that's a home run.
That's a great hire.
Yeah, you talk about the age. He's 44. He's worked his way up, and like he weirdly seems like he fits. Like Cincinnati's not going to have a bunch of the 5-star guys. They're going to get a couple. You know, he's going to be all right. I think that's going to be a really good. I think that's like a scary. And like I mentioned my own age. I just called Matthew Dellavedova a kid. I think of Cincinnati as being a good basketball program, like back in the day, right? Like
it's a good basketball program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Back when the Big East was the king of hoops, they were right there in the thick of all of it.
You have for a move like this for Cincinnati, you've got to commit to basketball and just give football a chance to reboot.
You think
and
so?
Some schools, I do. I don't think since in a Big 12 in this era,
they're a basketball school.
Yeah, I don't see them really. If like Baylor and Cincinnati sell out for basketball and have $19 million NIL budgets with great head coaches, now you're cooking. Just kind of put that money to basketball and forget about football for a little bit. Cincinnati just had its best roster of the last probably since they had Dana, and they went 7-5, 7-6.
Yeah, not being able to hold on to Sorsby definitely does not send the greatest of messages.
No, I mean them being able to compete in football is going to be brutally tough. Okay, so if we know that football's ceiling is maybe 7 or 8 wins, let's just go win a national championship in basketball. I'd be cool with that.
Doesn't it kind of feel like that football's still the front porch, and they're in the Big 12? They're in the Big 12 because of their Desmond Ritter success with Luke Fickell. Like without those successful football seasons, they're not in this conference.
Fickell's coming back.
I don't think they can abandon it.
Well, if Scott Frost, Rich Rod, and Fickell all in the Big 12, that's gonna be great. Back with their old school.
It's going to be great. It's going to be
great.
Tom Herman
back to Tom Herman comes back to Houston. No. So, but in basketball's conference, you've got, obviously I'm going to say Kelvin, but you've got Bill Self has won titles unless he retires in the next few days, which I guess by the time this airs, he might, who knows. Scott Drew at Baylor's won a title. For whatever you think about him now, he did win a title there. You got McCaslin at Tech is really, really good.
Yep.
Yeah.
You've got
on his way up still.
Otzelberger. You've got Tommy Lloyd.
He needs to be further up the list.
Jamie Dixon, I think, does a lot with a little. I thought Dawkins did a lot with a little this year. I'm not as high on Kevin Young as other people are, but some people like him
number one assistant. But yeah, I mean, he's
Ross Hodge obviously still has a lot to prove.
Yeah, it depends on the guy.
Level, yeah.
Jamie Dixon is an incredible college basketball coach and does a ton with very little. TCU doesn't really buy into basketball. Kevin Young does enough with a lot, like he's there for NBA development. I don't know, and to me, NBA development coaches don't usually win national championships. College basketball coaches, like a Patino who dabbled for a second, was like, oh no, I'm a college guy. I think those are the guys who you want at the helm of your program, a la Jamie Dixon. But continue.
I like Cody's guy Lutz. He's new still, but I like him a lot.
I agree.
I think we just made 3 good hires, even if Phil's guy is not going to be here for very long. Like this, it's
look what Ross Hodge is doing recruiting right now too.
We talk about what West Virginia's making waves. I still want to see Hodge do it at this level, but he's done it at previous levels, right? Like
Utah and Colorado exist.
Yeah, everyone needs a good punching bag.
Yeah, they're there.
It's
great education.
Great education. Well, how long is Jensen going to get the Utah? I guess the Utah gig's going to. He's
only been there a year, but I mean, he's only been there a year.
I'm sorry, fellas, but anybody willing to take that K-State job, I would be wary.
Man,
if you say anything negative about your university or your players, you might be fired. Why would you take that job?
That's a great point. That's a good point. All right, well, that's time. I mean,
We did it.
I have dessert on the table as we speak, and you probably do whoever
Frosties,
you are.
Philip.
Is it Frosties or is it Mountain Dew Zero? We dropped a lot of brands this episode for not
Walmart, Robin Hood.
Hold on,
I'm not very
Frosties-
cognizant of that
a brand?
the brand thing. I forget about it.
No, they need.
Well,
we just
I don't think
don't
it's
give
a
it away
brand,
for free. Make them
Frosties.
pay us.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
If
don't think it's
Frosties
about-
is a brand, they
We're talking
better-
about Frosties 1 minute. Now we're not giving it away for free.
Yeah,
What's
like
happening?
if prostitution is a brand, America's really got problems. Like I don't think that's Frosty's not a brand.
You've never been to Amsterdam, have you?
No,
Luckily, not America. That is Parker
Not
Ainsworth,
America.
Locked On Cougs, Mountaineer Paul, Philip Mulford, Cody Stovall. This has been It Always Will Be. Thanks for making our shows your first listen every single day. The Dose Grande Squad.
Locked on Amsterdam.
That would be great.